What's up, guys? It's Tuesday, December 12th, 2023. I want to run over some ideas real quick. As you know, we had a heck of a day today on Tuesday, turnaround Tuesday. We didn't turn around exactly, even though we had a turnaround this morning on CPI data. Let's take a look at SPY first, and let's see if any numbers are important here. Okay. We are above all of my numbers. Here's our close, 464.72. And wow, are we close to all-time highs. Pretty wild stuff. Pretty amazing that, we had our buy SPY no matter what. Absolute rip. And now we're having another absolute rip. If I were a betting man, which I'm not, but I guess I am because I'm a stock trader, I would say we're going to have some kind of pullback before we run to new highs. But it's always possible. Let's make some new lines. I want to show you guys why these lines are important. I will give you some examples and one humongous move that we missed today because I didn't have an alarm set. I have these alerts set here to try to remind me to catch moves. Let's go to the 4-hour chart, get your line tool, and look for reversal candles where a green candle ran up and turned around and reversed into a red candle. So let's move, let's move over here. So obviously our most recent one, we don't have any. So we have to move back here and see if we have anything. If you notice this candle right here, this is a gap. Look at this. Wow, look at this. Look at this gap that we filled today. What an amazing gap. We closed at 464.72. This was January 14th of 2022, and look where we stopped. The low of this candle was 464.64, and this was 464.72. So within 10 cents, we stopped right there. That's amazing to fill that gap. Let's go ahead and put a line here because this would be a red candle if it weren't for the gap. So the close of this candle is 465.26. Let's see if I can get close here. 465.25. Can't quite get that close. We got a new line there, 465.25. Let's see if that's important anywhere else. Scroll over here. We did have another gap here. It was the low of this candle right here. That was a buyer. Low of this candle was 465.27. So 26.27 within a cent there. Again, we have this other gap right here. Huge gap. So let's keep that in mind that we have a large gap in between this area, which means we can move quickly through it as we obviously did today. Let's see if this is important again. What's the low of this candle? 465.20. Low of this candle, 465.28. So, and obviously this little red candle here, low 465.30. So that would be your next number if you were to put a number on your chart. Above that can get pretty wild because we don't really have any reversals in this area, so we have to move over. This wouldn't really be considered a rejection as much as just a because it has these wicks. It's not really the same here. We do have this kind of flat spot here that every time they got above it, you can see they kind of reversed it. So we'll go with this candle here would be your, well, let me see. This is a little closer, would be this one. I think there's more going on right here. So let's count this candle. The close of this candle was 469.98, so 470. The high of this was, the open of this was, 469.98. So let's say with 470, 469.99. Let's say that's important for right now. It doesn't have to be, but as you can see, every time they got over 470, they sold. So that's going to be hard to break if they get over it. Obviously they can. The more times they try, the more they can break it. But initially, when they first run into 470, that's going to be hard to break. Now, if we know anything about this year's market, it is, as we're in the 400s, the number 4 becomes important. 464, 454, 444, and so on. And if you go back and watch my videos, I said 454 is likely a target, and 464 would be their ultimate goal. So I'm not sure they're going to get much higher than this. I also want to look at something here while we're doing this. Let's so let's put this. So we have a 465.25. That's going to be our next target if they hit that in the morning. If we're for some reason above 470, especially on FOMC, if we rip to 470, look to go ahead and short. But if we're above it on open, look for a pullback. Not this deep necessarily yet. We might need a few days to do that. I don't know if we're going to kill the market before Christmas at this point. I really thought they were going to reverse it on the 6th, and let's see what they did on the 6th. They did. They started to reverse it on the 6th, and then they saved it. So from the 7th on has been pretty outstanding move here. Let's move to a cleaner chart, SPX, and let's look at the 4-hour chart. Oh, I'll talk about this red here in a second. But first, let's take a look at this because now let's even go down to the 1-hour chart. And this is important because I don't want you to get short too fast. There seems to always be a double test of a trend line. If you were to make a trend line, now this is SPX, remember? If you were to make this trend line here, this channel that we've been in, we came up and tested it and failed, retested it, and then we moved down. We came up and tested it again, failed, retested it, and failed. So, I mean, it's possible we can get a reaction off of one test of it, but I would like to kind of see a double test of this top line before we move down. And if we did move down, we can move down here. As you can see, there's a space in here. This was kind of that gap we were just talking about. There's really not a lot of buyers or sellers between this area, 460 and 464 SPY. So quickly, we can move down there. But I did think it was interesting that we stopped at this channel today. That this was the top of the market for the day. And as of right now, I'm in futures short, but it's pretty much just moving sideways. So we'll see what happens. But I would like to see a slight pullback, a retest of that line, and if we got rejected there, I'm going to leave this chart up during FOMC. If we got retested there, then we could see a pretty wicked drop quickly. And I don't know if that's necessarily the top of the market yet, but obviously getting below that and taking out this low specifically, that would really be a nice top to the market, and I would say that is the top. So watch for a double test of this channel. it is pretty amazing. That's where they stopped today. Nothing ever happens coincidentally, right? Well, let's zoom out and let's look at these red areas. So I was thinking that this was going to be the top here, but really, I mean, this kind of move is just wild. But we've had now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going on our 7th week in the SPX that is green. I would be very surprised if we actually closed 7. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we had a rejection there, right? We really haven't seen that kind of move at all. Maybe here's a little bit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a red one, and it continued. So never always take your stop loss if you're wrong. Never just continue to hold if you're wrong, because ultimately, if we find out tomorrow that they are printing again, that they turned the printers back on, then all this is just going to be a measured move, and you'll see a move up, consolidation, and an equal move up to this candle. So what's this? Say 41. Just make it easy. 41 to 45. So that's 400. So 46 to 5,000. Yeah, that would be a measured move. So don't rule it out. It's definitely possible. But let's take a look at these little red areas real quick, and let's see why they're important here. So we had a gap, which again, remember, we filled the last SPY gap today. But on SPX, we do still have some gaps here. We have a gap from here to here, and then from here to here. There are some gaps. So it's possible they could continue to move higher and push through this red area. But if you were to look on the larger time frames, we're getting pretty extended into resistance, right? And just because we open the month up here doesn't mean we can't close the month down here. As you can see, we had a huge move. Look at this channel. It's a huge channel from here to here, right? And then from here all the way down to here and back up, and then from here to here. So this channel, that's why we moved so quickly from this channel after we consolidated out of this area. Move from there to there, there to there, there to there. There's a low liquidity gap from 4,600 to 4,200. So 400 point move gap. So we could quickly, getting back below this breakout area would be a false breakout, and we could quickly see ourselves back at 4,100 again. So keep that in mind. Still trying to figure out why I have this here. Let's look at the I don't remember. Oh, probably was it? Nope, it wasn't that. I don't know. Basically, as you see though, anytime we get above this area, we come down. It was probably this candle or something. So that would be considered a so here to here, yeah. So this would be considered a fair value gap, I suppose, from under this candle to this candle. So it's very possible that they're just coming back to retest this area to see if they can break it. So the top of this channel would be 46.60. As I said a couple weeks ago, 464 SPY was a target, and we did hit that. So it's possible that we're done moving up. Keep that in mind. Now, if we are looking for things to short because we are up this high. Oh, hold on real quick. I want to tell you how good these numbers are. So look at this. We've had this number on our chart forever, 468.41 and 451.47. This is a daily chart of NVIDIA, and just look how amazing this is. We tagged 451.47 and ripped the other direction, right? And then what happened today? Look at this. Look at how strong these numbers are. 468.41. Came down into it, bounced good, came back down into it, and had a huge rip. So again, I get these numbers from the 4-hour charts by looking at reversal candles. If you go back over here, there's probably a reversal candle somewhere that I used to make this line. But anyway, the numbers work. So if you guys are trading SPY, you know, let's keep an eye on these next two numbers here. 465.25 and 469.99. If you're curious about futures, look how this number worked today. This was an amazing trade that came up 1 cent short, or 1 tick short of my number, and so I didn't get entered in. Where did it go? Oh no, it wasn't ES. It was the Nasdaq. Come on, I'll scroll. I'm on a 1 minute chart here. I don't know where my number went. I guess never mind. Anyway, this little spike right here, my number was at 458.50, and it came up within like 1 tick. So now I'm in it short, but it's just moving sideways, so I could easily just continue moving higher. Anyway, so now that we're kind of starting to turn bearish again, not necessarily bearish, but whatever, let's look at what the banks are doing and see XLF. Let's see what XLF is doing compared to the rest of the market. Because SPY is at all-time highs, almost, right? XLF is far from it. And usually the banking, whatever the banking system is doing, that's going to be, see how right here it got rejected? And then I clicked on that, and what do you know, right there it got rejected. So watch for 37.12 specifically. Watch for a rejection there. Banking is probably the next thing to short, because as of right now we're not in the same position in the banks. And you know what, it's been a while. It's probably time to short a small bank again. Oh, check this out. Here's our lines for KRE, and what do you know, we came into 49.05 and rejected. It wasn't exact, but you know, it's pretty close. This one was. Look at that. High of this candle, 49.09, within a few cents. It didn't ever close a candle above this. Look at this. It's never closed a candle above 49.05. So let's take this information and say, okay, if we're going to short something, let's choose a bank to do it, because we see right here this rejection, 49.05, 49.05, 49.05, 49.05. Let's see what happens with this number. We do have a backup number up here, 51.50. But so let's take a look at my favorite, PNC, and see what it's doing. If you were to take the low of this candle, low 143.52, that would probably be a good place to short. See how, look at this. See how that and that line up and left the gap. Let's watch for 143. What did it say? Actually, it'd be the open of this candle. 143.86. Let's move our line. 143. I'm doing this with you all. 143.87. Whatever. That's close enough. 143.85. Watch for a move on PNC 143.85 to short it. Might not get there. If you look at this candle here, this see what the high of this candle was 141.64. So far a high 142.06. So we've actually gotten above that one. Close of this candle 141.05. It might 140, what did I say? 141.60. Is that right? High of this candle 141.64. So yeah, 141.64. See how that's becoming resistance? That's amazing, isn't it? We'll put another line here in this area. See how that was resistance and then it became support. That's interesting. Anyway, so keep PNC on watch for short. Let's see, what are some other banks? Third. I don't remember what third. Did they go out of business? They might have gone out of business. Anyway, just start looking at regional banks. Regional banks short. Keep an eye on that. Let's look at IWM. IWM. Now that one still has room. See how this one? I've got an arrow here to remind me. But so once again, anything under 179.50 they buy up. Surprisingly, this was a pretty good squeeze. They got back above the channel. The breakdown here, that was a pretty good one. But we're starting to run into resistance. 188.30 we haven't come up to yet. So here's another one. When they come up short of a number, see how this was resistance here, 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 here. When they came up short of a number, that means they're likely going to pull back and then break through it. So you can keep an eye on small caps, IWM up to 190 or 191. For that, you would want to look at some small caps like GameStop, which usually pops on. GameStop's looking all right. Usually pops on FOMC days anyway. So you can watch that one. This was kind of an area of support here. And they did come back into it. See how they got underneath it and they ripped it back up. So keep an eye on GameStop tomorrow, anywhere around 14.75, to see if they can get another pop higher and break this consolidation area. If you wanted to try a long, look for a pop up to this, back to this resistance 18 for a day. That'd be a pretty awesome move. So my favorite ENVX is still in this channel. It's just not doing anything right now. I guess you could argue that it's on the top end of the channel. So, it's possibly could get above, but as you can see, this 1240 area has been very hard to break. Anytime they get over this 1240 area, it tends to sell off. So, we really need to close the day over it and then continue at least another day and flip it to support for ENVX. But we do still have higher lows, so we're still in the right direction. And I like this one back up to the, let's see, first target would be 15.20, and ultimately your next area of resistance is going to be around here somewhere. When it gets over this line, it tends to sell off at 23, but still 12 to 24, that's 100% return. It's very possible that they could run another test of that within a couple weeks. So I'm still in January. I think I'm gonna push this one out to maybe the summer on this one just to see what happens. And obviously breaking below this channel is gonna invalidate that, and we might just see new lows. So keep an eye on small caps, long as an idea tomorrow. Money might be flowing out of large caps, and let me see how I'm doing here. If you guys are interested in futures, I've got a whole nother set of numbers for futures. Take a look at this number right here. Look at this. This was the peak of before the major correction, and what do you know? That's where we stopped today. Right now they came up short of it here, so it's possible that they can continue to break it, and your next number would be a very quick move to 17,340. But we're in I'm at 16. Where did I get in? 16,600. Come on, computer. Yeah, I'm doing okay. See how every time they get above this line, they sell off, and now it's becoming resistance. So QQQ might not move tomorrow. That might be a short, and IWM would be your long if you wanted to do longs. IWM has a little bit longer to go, farther to go before a correction, but it might also say something that, if you remember, QQQ and SPY, they just went like that, right? They broke the high from CPI, and the Russell 2000 IWM did not. They're actually down here, so that might be telling. IWM is weaker than the rest of the market, meaning risk is off. Talking about risk, check this out, and this is the last thing I'll leave you with. Look at how these numbers work. I had an alarm set for 1180 on VIX, and look what these guys did. Look what they did. Low was 1181, guys, 1 cent from my alarm going off to buy the VIX. But now we're at 1208, and it's very interesting that the high of this candle was 1210, and our line is at 1210. What do you know? Pretty amazing. So let's zoom out and take a look at this. We are in a buy area for the VIX. In this channel, anywhere below, what number did I say this was? 1180. Anywhere below 1180, they tend to bounce it back up. And that doesn't mean the top of the market. VIX can move up while SPY is also moving up. So keep that in mind. We did break down from this decade-long trend line, so we might just be on our way to a new market, and we could run down to this $9 area. I'm sorry, 9% area. But anyway, 9,897. We could try to continue to break that, but I mean, if you look on the long-term VIX here, as you can see, anywhere below 12 really starts to be a buying area. That means people start buying volatility, expecting for the market to top out. So another warning that we might not be at the bottom yet. I will show you one last S5FI. I will show you one more chart. S5FI is percent of stocks that are above their 50-day moving average. S5FI, and keep an eye on this one. This one down here, this move below 10, that confirmed that we were at the bottom of the market, and that's when we also had our buy SPY no matter what. So again, it came down to 10, and what happened? We ripped, right? Now, we're still not at the top, 92.15, I have a line here. this would have been 2020, November 2020. That was the beginning of the market correction. 2022, right? No, 2021 was a correction. But anyway, as you can see, every time we get to this, banks start taking profit. It's not necessarily a predictor of a crash, but it does mean your stocks are not going to be as strong anymore. They've pretty much topped out. So like this one here, we got to 92, 92, 92, and we're almost there. We're 84.50. 84.5% of the stock. That means only 15% of the stocks are below their 50-day moving average, which kind of predicts the bottom there. Let's see if EMBX is one of them. Nope, actually we're above. We're above. This is the 50-day moving average, right? It is technically above the 50-day moving average. So anyway, all that to say, SPY, if you trade SPY, 465.25, look for a short. If we get a spike above 470, I will be swinging puts. I'll probably get like 465 puts for 2 weeks out, and look for instead of a Santa rally, I'll look for a Santa fall down the chimney type move. So let me know what questions you guys have. If you're interested in any of these things or need help, if you have any that you want numbers on, you just used your 4-hour chart to draw your lines. But if you need help, I'm more than happy to help you. Send me stocks to look at. Thank you all, and have a good evening.